Good evening. Yeah, Mount Panorama Bathurst definitely going to be a challenge for these drivers. It's basically like racing two racetracks. You got the mountain section, just all the twisty bends, and then you get down in the high speed. Once you get down off the top of the hill, looking forward to a real exciting race here today. Dickinson looking sharp here right now, but as we look so far at qualifying, simply Steve on the P1 right now. Dickinson about 95 thousandths behind right, so we can pick up pace here and get that top spot and, like you said, secure the championship. He stopped at the yeah, simply Steve, the winner at Bathurst this year, looking to take pole here for the season finale. I don't see anybody else really out there left on the racetrack. It looks like it might challenge him. So it looks like Steve's going to come out of here with a pole position tonight. I was going to say it got a little dark there really quick.
Belle Isle last week. They have 144 points ahead of Night Racing Blue. Iron Bros, P1 Racing, not actually Bob Racing, round out your top 5. They're quick. They're not that far in front of Daddy's Daycare, Team FX and Speed Squad with Love Seat, Bong Life Motorsports, N Squared, Poutine and Guns Racing, Mallard Motorsports, Redemption Racing, Yellow Flag Motorsport, Rodent Racing, and Blue Chew Machine, rounding out the 17 teams that have scored points this season. Well, folks, you just saw all the points, but it is time to go racing for the Crown Jewel Champions Pick season finale. Round 10 out of 10 here for the Bathurst Bratwurst Party, sponsored by Biker Pilot. It's going to be Simply Steve on the front row of the grid, followed by Sean Dickinson. Then we've got Bob Wallace, Not a Supra, T-Jish and Bob Nova on row 3. Not a Vin and Eat My Dust on row 4. Prince Adam and Zach on row 5 with Cat Daddy, Sector, Sassy, Pancakes, Corn Dog, Jen, Beaver, Garlic Dog. This week's event sponsor, Biker Pilot, Yomega, Paperbag, Pebble, Corrido, and G-Bay, due to round out 24 cars around this fantastic circuit, which has been opened back in March of 1938. It measures 3.891 miles, 23 iconic corners, and more to the point, this is a combination of balance and power, especially going through into the cutting at turn number 3, going through into Quarry, into Reed, Sulman, and the famed McPhillamy Park right at the top of the mountain. The Porsche pace car leads the field away. And Paperbag is in the pits. Corrido, I don't think, has made it to the grid, but it is going to be the run through into Hell Corner at turn number 1 that is going to start a chain reaction. So Sean Dickinson needs to just finish this race. He becomes the season champion. Simply Steve picks up 2 points for securing that pole position. As now the Porsche pace car peels into pit lane. It is time for the Crown Jewel Champions Pick. Final round here for J2ICS as Simply Steve and Sean Dickinson will lead the field to green here at the mountain as we wait. Green, green, green. We're underway. Simply Steve gets a great hole shot. And Bob Wallace looking towards the inside of Sean Dickinson. Simply Steve has bolted away. Not a Supra. Looking around the outside of Bob Wallace. Coming through Held Corner. Beaver's got a bit of a problem coming out of that opening corner in the Acura. But Simply Steve has already got a lead of 8.5 tenths of a second. Up Mountain Straight on the run down to Griffin's Bend. And look at T-Jish in the BMW. Looks to the inside of Bob Wallace. Through at Griffin's Bend. Gets a little bit of wiggle. Bob Nova looking towards the outside. Into Quarry. Again up the hill. This is where precision is the best thing. If anyone might remember Sheldon van der Linde's big mistake, where his BMW M4 GT3 Evo went over the wall whilst lapping a slower Ginetta, and the BMW from WRT would then retire on the spot. But instantly, Simply Steve and the McLaren 720S GT3 Evo leads the way as we go through Sulman, Reed and McPhillamy for the first time. Now into Brock Skyline. Down the hill, through into the S's, into the Dipper, and then it's the run out of Forest Elbow, down Conrod Straight for the opening time. Cars very close in proximity to the walls and to each other, but look at them, they're line astern with 23 cars circulating. Oh, but there's been a drama for one of the cars mistiming the run down through the Dipper. Paperbag in the Mustang coming through Brock Skyline, and there's Jen in the number 99 Corvette. A little bit further back, 4.6 seconds behind Pebble. But look at the lead as we are about to see an overtake. And look at this, not a Supra, wheel to wheel, side by side, gets through at over 160 miles an hour. But he's to the inside of the chase. And he's going to go for it. And the number 51, not a Supra, 86, makes a dynamite move round the outside at the chase on championship winner-elect Sean Dickinson. And the number 51 McLaren there, Chris, did an absolutely beautiful job to get through on the man who just needs to get to the checkered here tonight.
Yeah, we watched a lot of the practice going on this week, and it looked like the BMWs had the pace coming down through Conrad Strait. But a Super there in the McLaren, just a great job getting around Dickinson. Got a much better run, I think, off the corner there, which gave him that run down the hill. So Super now moving up to the point where, and we're not used to seeing Dickinson drop back through the field here as we look at Teakish now looking to the outside of Bob Wallace there to try to move up into the fourth spot. So looks like we got an exciting race here in our hands. The last couple of races we've had the leader get out in front, kind of run away with it, but really nice to see. We're going to have some action here all throughout the field here at Bathurst, which we expect.
Oh, right. Not a Supra. Must have just made a little bit of a mistake because Sean Dickinson is back through for second position and has already built up. Oh, Dickinson so close to the wall coming through into Reed. Now into Sulman where they get this deep compression. Tejish right on the back bumper of Bob Wallace in the 666 Porsche 992 GT3R. And he's got Bob Nova, Bob Wallace's teammate, as they go through Brock Skyline, named after the late, great Peter Brock, a man synonymous all. But look, not a Supra clips the wall, going through into the S's and into the dipper. That's going to have a little bit of damage to that right-hand side. Hopefully, it's not affected the steering on that McLaren. But I think Not a Super was very, very lucky. We're going to see how he's going to get on because he's going to become a sitting duck. And I think at this point, Tejish might have the best advantage. We ride on board with Bob Wallace in the 666, not actually Bob Racing 992 GT3R up to 6th gear. We're going to be over 255 kilometers an hour. That's north of 160 miles an hour. But look at this, Tejish to the outside, gets through at turn 20, and is the favour going to be returned? No, Bob Wallace goes off the circuit, and that is going to give him a slowdown penalty, indicated by the yellow flag by the side of his name on the timing tower. And then Eat My Dust gets through, and it looks like Nodovin's trying to get through as well. But Simply Steve is up the road. Sean Dickinson, however, has just put his car fastest of anybody. He's got that gap down from what was 2 seconds. And there is the man himself, picture in picture. And that's really good to see that Sean was game for doing this, Chris.
Yeah.
Because this could be a very, very a moment defining his sim racing career in many an aspect.
Yeah, Sean looking really relaxed. You can see down here trying to chase down Simply Steve. Not much sure what the mistake there was from not super kind of became the cork in the bottle there. Teagish, Bob Nova, and Bob Wallace all pile up there behind him. That allowed Dickinson to get some separation and set out on his journey here, trying to run down Simply Steve, and he's doing just that. He's gained about 2/10 of a second here, just in the last about quarter of a lap here. So we'll see if Sean can make his way up to the point here. And again, catching somebody here at Bathurst is one thing, but being able to get around them, if you catch them up in that mountain section, it is going to be a challenge to find your way around.
Just like the late, great Murray Walker used to say, it's one thing catching somebody, it's something completely different passing them. But look, the gap now down to 0.6 of a second, as Sean Dickinson clearly has got the bit between his teeth, and he is closing that gap. Simply Steve might be seeing a lot of green and black of that BMW in his rearview mirrors very, very shortly, as we see Tejish against Not a Supra 86 as we run on board with this number 97 BMW M4 GT3 Evo. It's a 3-litre flat 6 twin scroll turbo, and you can see that even with the McLaren having such a big amount of torque, nicknamed the Torque Monster from its M840 4-litre twin turbo mid-mounted V8, the BMW really showing its prowess in the straight stuff. And Sean Dickinson, in the meantime, at the front end is less than 2/10. He's about 2.5 tenths behind Simply Steve. So there's a battle for P3 going on between a McLaren and a BMW. And at the front end of the field, we've also got a battle between a McLaren and a BMW and another new fastest lap. Sean Dickinson really cranking the volume on that BMW up to, in the words of Spinal Tap, volume number 11. And the gap is 0.3 of a second as they go up Mountain Straight once again here on what is lap number 4. So an hour and a half. You can just see that Sean able to just flex his fingers a little bit, just get rid of any muscle soreness or tension before he turns it into Griffin's Bend here at turn 2. And you can just see how concentrated he is. There's not that much expression on his face, but that's when you come to this part here at Quarry and then going up the hill, you've got to be very, very careful. We did see Not a Supra suffer with damage on the right-hand side of his McLaren, which is why he's now 4.3 seconds behind. And as you rightly said, Chris, is the cork in the bottle. Someone has thrown the kitty litter already onto the circuit, so it is going to cause some compromisation with regards to the grip that the drivers will have coming through that part of the circuit itself. as the two leaders make their way through Brock Skyline, down the S's, into the Dipper. And this is the biggest opportunity that he will have. Meantime, it's a three-way scrap because we've got McLaren versus BMW versus Porsche. Not a Super 86 versus Tejish and Bob Nova for that final step of the rostrum. Oh, Sean Dickinson. Big hit on the wall on the right-hand side coming out of Forest Elbow. Sparks flying from the right side of the BMW. Hopefully that's just superficial and just paintwork that's been scraped. Not any damage to that steering, but Sean is going to find that out when he comes down into the chase. He's just going to bide his time. Can't win a race like this on lap 1, but you can certainly lose a hell of a lot of time. Looks like we've got Jen, who's been in the pit lane for quite a time, just over a minute and a quarter. But Tejish now starting to really put the frighteners on Not a Supra 86 as they come out of the chase. Tejish to the outside in towards Murray's corner. The nose dips down as he hits the brake hard, hit the brake pedal hard. And again, it looks like Not a Supra is just making that McLaren's back end wider than an 18-wheeler articulated lorry that's got a few miles to put down underneath its tyres. And you can see the gap increasing between Dickinson and Not a Supra. It's 4.8 seconds. Tejish now has an opportunity. Goes towards the outside on Mountain Straight in towards Griffin's Bend. Tejish is going to get a nose ahead and is going to overtake round the outside. But is he going to keep a hold of this position? He will get the inside line. And that's a great move by Tejish before they go up to Quarry. Incredible stuff there by the number 97, having the legs on the McLaren, pulling the car to the outside when he absolutely needed to, using that nice little bit of side draft to assist to that outside overtake at turn 2.
Yeah, Tiga switched to the BMW this week from the Mustang. Picked up a win earlier this season at the Roval, but looking really good here. Last couple of weeks he struggled, but it looks like the car switch over to the BMW is really paying off for Tiga. She is making his way to the front right now, up a couple of spots, started in 5th, and we're going to see. I think it's a lot to try to chase down Dickinson now for that second spot, 6 seconds back here, but we're going to keep an eye on Tigish's charge to the front, looking really sharp out there. New livery on that BMW as well, so we'll see where Tigas can end up in this race before it's over. We are going to have at least a couple of stops, as you talked about, but we didn't. We talked earlier as well. We don't think fuel's going to be a problem. So, we ran a couple races this year where they weren't really able. They ended up having to make an extra stop right towards the end of the race. But I think 2 stops here tonight is going to be just work out just well enough for them with the fuel loads that they have in these cars.
I think I'm seeing a little bit of strategy from Sean Dickinson. He's not pushing the issue here with Simply Steve, even though he's right on his rear diffuser at the moment, going through Murray's corner. The thing is, with a stop like this, depending on whether the fact that these fuel tanks are limited, in a lot of GT3 leagues now that they are limiting the tank capacity to like 50 or 60%. So if it's a 60% limit, then you would say that 2 stops is the optimum pit strategy here at Mount Panorama. But also then the fact is that when they get to the pit lane, they've got to be on that pit stop limiter. Otherwise, if they aren't, it's going to be a big penalty, 30 seconds additional that the driver will have to spend in pit lane if they are speeding in to the pit lane itself, which is around about I think it's a 50 kph speed limit or something like that, which is around about 30 miles an hour. So Simply Steve and Sean Dickinson pretty much line astern at the moment. We're into lap 6 out of this race, so the laps are quite lengthy here. We're looking at oh my goodness me, Bob Nova's had a glance with the wall. Simply Steve has had a little scrape with the wall. And behind Bob Nova, you can see Eat My Dust and also Nodovin closing rather rapidly in the McLaren and the Porsche. Porsche's not doing Porsche things at the moment. Well, Nodovin is currently in the Corvette as we speak. Was in the Porsche last week, if I remember correctly, at the Belle Isle. No, he wasn't. He was in the Corvette. My apologies there to Nodovin. But the Corvette hasn't been on song like we saw last time out at Belle Isle. But it seems that with the power of some of the cars, the BMW, the McLaren, they're able really to get the top speed. But of course, with the season 3 and then week 13 and then season 4 introductions, especially with the Aston Martin Vantage now being added to the GT3 plethora, which has been showing its nose in a few racing leagues, as of one that we also broadcast here on Monday nights at 8 p.m. UK time, which is the Tanzo Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3 Championship, which will head to Le Mans next week on Monday for a 90-minute enduro. But I think the strategy here from Sean Dickinson is actually playing out quite nicely to his hands. And the reason why I say that, Chris, is because he's not wanting to make the overtake. He's deciding, look, if I stay behind Simply Steve as much as possible, I can save that fuel.
I think that's exactly what he's doing. I think that's a good call there, Alex. He's had a better pace all day long, and he hasn't even really even peeked out to one side or the other, or Simply Steve there to even try to attempt to pass. So he's just kind of hanging there in the background in the mirror, and I think you're spot on with that analogy. He's just saving some fuel back there, just running some laps. He knows what he's got to do to win the championship. If he doesn't make any mistakes as well, so I mean, if he stays right here, the championship is definitely his. But not even back there in the sixth position right now. So just a smart drive right now from Sean, and he's just gonna wait till the end here. If he keeps following Steve behind him the way he is as well too. I mean, Steve's got his eyes up in the mirror there as well, and hopefully he just doesn't make a mistake here and can just keep running the race the way he is.
The biggest thing is that when you've got a driver right on your tail, especially at a circuit like Mount Panorama, unforced errors can happen, and that's what I don't want Simply Steve having. Is having to park the car on the racing line as we see Sean Dickinson again getting very close to wall like he did a couple of laps ago, and sparks did fly from the right hand side of the BMW. Prince Adam in the meantime has been showing the that wonderfully bright green and black with the white racing stripe down the middle. He's currently in P9, closing down on Bob Wallace, who has dropped down the order a few spots, dropped down 5 places, having started in third on the beginning of this race just over 14 minutes ago. So the Mustang, that particular vehicle, new addition also to the iRacing service earlier on this year, but has also been cutting its teeth in the world of GT3 racing all across the globe, including the World Endurance Championship, the ADAC GT Masters, DTM, and a lot of, and also the GT World Challenge Europe powered by AWS. But here we go, Sean Dickinson to the outside of Mountain Straight on Simply Steve here on lap 8, and there is Sean. He's
Sound a good chuckle.
he's got a chuckle on his face and a big Cheshire cat grin. But he's not. Is he going to try? He's going to give it a go. But he thought, well, you know what? A little bit of sharp intake of breath from the man himself there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screens for those watching at home. If you are watching on the JP Broadcasting Network, thank you so much for joining us here today. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that cool stuff such as hitting the notification bell. We've got so much content in terms of live broadcasts coming up all the way through this week, which also includes the Champion Sim Racing NARS VWSC that heads to Indianapolis Motor Speedway around about this time in about 24 hours, give or take. But we've got Zach here trying to close in on the Mustang of Prince Adam, and then you've got Bob Wallace. There's also Sassy, Zach's teammate, pair of wonderfully liveried McLaren 720S GT3s running with the Iron Brew livery. So that's Zach and Sassy rounding out your top 11. And there's been some pretty, I wouldn't say that this is processional by any stretch of the imagination here, Chris. It's just that everyone is just keeping really, really close and just hoping that someone in front of them makes a little bit of a boo-boo.
Yeah, it's like we talked earlier. It's just so tough to make a pass up here in this mountain section. You're hoping for somebody to make a mistake, and then when you get coming down the hill, down through the Conrad Straight, and down through the chase and everything, everybody's running about the same pace. So unless somebody, what you're hoping for is as they come off out of this mountain section, out of Forest Elbow, if somebody makes a mistake off that last corner and they lose a little bit of pace, that's your chance to get them. But right now, it's like you said, just kind of everybody kind of single filed out here. Not a lot of passing going on. But, and it is 90 minutes. There's no point in doing anything too crazy here too early. And looks like we got Bob Wallace with a slowdown as well. We'll see if we can jump over and see what happened. Looks like he just maybe had a slight off here.
Oh, he's going to go straight on, isn't he? Yeah, there we go. He's grass cutting coming out of turn 21 at the chase and shortcuts turn 22. So that instantly gives him a slowdown penalty, which he should have really served quite quickly, which he has done now. But look, Prince Adam is through on him, and look at Zach. All that scrubbing paint going through into Griffin's Bend. And Zach has threaded the eye of the needle with an audacious move. Nearly went 2 wheels on the grass on, mounting straight up towards Griffin's Bend, and now has made the move before they hit the cutting at turn 4. That was a great bit of anticipation. Zach just deciding, well, you know what? It's the last race of the season. Let's just go elbows out and guns blazing. And by golly, did he make a beautiful little move there. So Bob Wallace, after that slowdown penalty, it gave Zach the opportunity to close. And here comes Zach's teammate, Sassy, right on the back of him as they go into Brock Skyline. Sassy all over the rear of Bob Wallace. I think Bob Wallace is like thinking, where do I need to look? Where do I need eyes? In the front and the back, side of my head? You know, I need them everywhere at the moment because I'm struggling.
Yeah, Bob's got his hands over the McLarens of Sassy and Zach. You know, Zach's been the king of defense over these races, but just a great offensive move there, taking advantage of Bob having a little bit of a slowdown. Dove down to the inside, moved up a spot. So Zach's now up a spot, started in 10th, up to 9th. And it looks like Bob Nova going to try to come back on the inside here.
Or the chase, that's going to be really, really tough. If he can make that move through. No, not quite.
I clicked on the wrong Bob.
Just watch. Yeah, well, no, don't worry about. Hey, look, that's the problem when they have matching liveries. They need to distinguish them a little bit with regards to maybe some different coloured alloy wheels or something like that. But you know what? Bob Wallace is not one for giving up, and he's not going to give up on this 9th place through into Hell's Corner at turn 1. Then on the accelerator, you can see that Bob's having to slightly do some micro corrections on the steering wheel because the back end of that Porsche, okay, yes, the engine is mounted over the rear axle, but it's not always the most compliant when you're trying to power out of a corner earlier than the car is wanting to do, and then you get that little bit of slippage on the traction with the rear wheels over rotating ever so slightly, and sometimes that can also be a detriment to the tyre degradation because with the amount of turns that we have here at Mount Panorama, 23 in total, combinations of lefts, rights, cambers, compression zones, ascents, descents as well. The tyres are being put through the ringer as Notovin is pulling away from Eat My Dust in the McLaren just behind, and that gap is now half a second, so Notovin has an opportunity to try and go and get as many points as he can in this race, but then it's going to be the time to try and chase down chief rival Sean Dickinson, and that is where things could be rather crucial in terms of the pit stops. But meantime, Bob Wallace, a little bit of sparks flying. Moment there for Sassy. Cat Daddy's closing in the Porsche just behind. So Cat Daddy in the number 69 Porsche 992 GT3R is going to pull to the left-hand side of Sassy, heading down Conrod Straight at over 150 miles an hour. We're now going to head into the chase. If Cat Daddy keeps the car where it is, still is within track limits. And now he's going to get the inside line. Sassy's not going to be able to defend that or go against it. Or is Sassy going to try? Yep, Sassy does try. However, Cat Daddy in the number 69 Porsche, qualified in 11th, has made a little bit of a comeback.
Looks like we may have had an off from Pebble. We'll jump over and take a look at that real quick.
Oh, Pebble hasn't really been having the greatest run. You can see the right front steering's been knackered as a result of it.
And they're just trying to get out of the way there.
No, it actually wasn't. No, because I saw the car go to the right. Because you see that right front damage there, Chris?
Yeah.
That's damaged the steering. That's damaged the uprights. So that car is going to be handling really, really badly. Because if you turn it right, you see the car's wanting to steer right. That's the problem. So Pebble has gone back into pit lane and is going to spend a few more minutes in there as well. So that's a real shame for Pebble, who's currently running 21st at the moment. But this is a track, as I said, you've got to be very, very much on your A game. The sector is now closing in on Sassy, so it's the bright green Corvette. I think Sassy just tagged the wall going through Reed into Solman, into McPhillamy. You can see the sparks flying from the right-hand side of the front splitter on these cars, and also the rear diffusers because they're slung so low. And sometimes with a circuit like Mount Panorama, you have to have a little bit of low downforce, but you've got to also compensate for downforce being required in the corners. especially going through from turn 2 up to around about turn 17, which we're about to hit very, very shortly. And here we see the onboard with Sassy out of Forest Elbow. Sector is right on the case. And where is the Corvette going to go? The number 95 is going to pull to the right-hand side. That's going to put Sector on the outside line on the approach into turn 21 here at the chase. And Sassy is going to go late on the brakes to defend. There's Pancakes and Corn Dog.
Oh,
and
little
that's
contact.
Sector off, and it's tagged Sally. Tagged Sally, and Sally's gone around. Well, I knew that was going to happen if Sector kept the foot stuck in, and that's exactly what did transpire. And Pancakes and Corn Dog, well, did get slightly caught up, but Pancakes now on the back.
Let's see if we can go back
Sector.
and see what happened there.
Yeah, so Sassy turns in. Sector's going to go on the grass and then rejoin. No. Not exactly what wanted to happen there at all.
They've got Pancake, yeah.
I think
little mistake there from Sector getting off their track there and then trying to come back on, and Sassy was just occupying the space where he wanted to come. So,
and that means that Sassy has tumbled down to 15th spot as a direct correlation. And to be honest with you, I think really Sector was a bit too hot going into that corner, missed the braking point, and that's where it all went horribly wrong for Sassy as a direct response. That's what the number 95 Corvette did, as we are fast approaching 24 minutes of this 90-minute Enduro being completed. It's a Crown Jewel event, so 90 minutes, and it's also a Champions pick, but it is a great track to conclude the season. We've got Bob Nova versus Not a Super at 86 at the minute, battling over 5th spot. They've got Nodovan closing in on them as well, so it's McLaren versus Porsche versus General Motors in the form of the Chevy Corvette, and maybe Nodovan might get a little bit of a tow. Bob Nova is going to be getting a tow. So looks like we've had Bob Wallace get through on Zach, and Zach's gone 2 wheels on the grass. Bob's gone, thanks for opening the barn doors for me.
yeah, we watched Bob Wallace and Zach fighting for quite a few laps. And Bob finally able to get around Zach and try to, he's got Prince Adams there in front of him now to try to chase down. So we'll jump back here to live time.
Yeah, so battle for 4th here. Not a Super 86, Bob Nova and Nodovan gets a really good run coming out of Hell Corner, and it's going to be right on the back of the number 605 Porsche as they go up Mountain Straight. It's going to be over the crest, down the dip into a slight compression zone. Nodovan is, I think, in my honest opinion, was not going to be close enough. Through into Griffin's Bend, and that's exactly what has happened. So the Canadian is going to have to try and wait for an opportunity, maybe at the top of the hill, maybe going through McPhillamy and into Brock Skyline to maybe have that window of opportunity if Bob Nova makes an unforced error.
Yeah, you can just see how tight the racetrack is up in this section, up through the mountain section here. There's not a room to pass anybody. You're just kind of trying to you're trying to do everything you can to keep yourself off the wall. I've tried to run a few laps here, and you know, it's as I've said many times, there's a reason I'm right here and not out there on the racetrack, because I tore up some equipment bouncing off the walls back and forth like a pinball.
Were you doing your best Roger Daltrey impersonation with the Who playing a mean pinball then, my friend?
I think it's what I had on my headphones. I think it just kind of gave me some inspiration.
Well, there you go. When needs must, as they say, Chris. But meantime, look, Eat My Dust and Prince Adam are now starting to catch. Not a Supra, Bob Nova, and Nodovan as well. So there is an opportunity for this to be a quintet of drivers going for what is effectively 4th spot.
It looks like we may have had an off from Pancakes here as well too. I'm gonna jump back over real quick.
Oh, okay. What's happened to the 481? Oh, don't tell me this is going to be coming out of McPhillamy and into Brock's Skyline over the crest. It's a bit blind here.
Oh, it just loses the back of the car right there.
All through the dipper. Oh, and Pancakes hits the wall hard, and that is no rear wing. Yeah, massive. Oh, well, there's no There's no trunk on the back of that car, no rear wing, no rear bumper. So Pancakes is going to find that that car is going to handle absolutely badly. And unfortunately, Pancakes has gone into pit lane. Meantime, the battle for fourth has really heated up. Bob Nova was looking for an opportunity. So was Notovin.
Notovin to the left side there, Bob Nova.
Oh, this is going into the cutting. That's not going to work, I'm afraid, Notovin. And the Corvette decides to wait for another opportunity. Looks like there's a little bit of damage to the right-hand side of that front splitter for the Corvette as they now go through Reed and into Sulman Park and Sulman and then into McPhillamy.
Oh, we missed this.
Oh, Simply Steve is no longer the leader. It's Sean Dickinson. So Dickinson now leading by 1.3 seconds as we are on lap 14 of this race. So Sean Dickinson, just before 1/3 of the timer counting down, is now in the lead of this race, having started from the outside of the front row with Simply Steve having picked up those initial 2 points for that pole position earlier in time qualifying.
Oh, here we go. I found a
Meantime,
clip of it.
Right, okay, so let's have a look at this. Through Murray's corner. Sean Dickinson, how did you have the cojones to do that? And he's going to keep it to the outside. Look, he's skirting with the grass on the start-finish straight with the right side tyres, but is half a car length ahead going into Hell's corner. Simply Steve doesn't really fight it and lets Dickinson through. So, and now Dickinson, because he's got a little bit of clear air between himself and Pebble in the number 48 Porsche up ahead. That gap is now, it's gone up big time.
Yeah, that's that.
Simply Steve.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a sign of two guys that have ran a lot of laps together. You know, Sean looked to the outside of Simply Steve. Steve saw him coming and held that, you know, that line coming through Morsor. You want to slide to the outside when you come off onto that to the start finish line. And Steve actually held the car tight down on the bottom and gave Dickinson that outside line. Just a lot of respect from them two. You can tell they ran a lot of laps side by side together.
And in the meantime, Eat My Dust and Prince Adam going through into Griffin's Bend was side by side for the briefest of moments. Eat My Dust stays ahead in the 7th spot on the field. As Sassy now has hit pit lane and has come in. So probably some drivers starting to think maybe about their first pit stop. And also one of the big things about that is that Omega's in the pit lane. So G-Bay in the number 22 Ferrari stays out for a little bit longer. 30 minutes out of 90 completed. So let's run you through the top 5 overall. Sean Dickinson leads the way ahead of Simply Steve. So there's Sean Dickinson making his way down what will be Conrod Straight. There's Simply Steve. Third is Tijish in the number 97 BMW. Not a Super 86 in the 51 McLaren is leading the freight train at the minute and is currently the cork in the bottle with Notovin in the 28 Corvette Z06 GT is closing in, and this could be an opportunity for the person who has been playing second fiddle, the bridesmaid, not the bride, to Sean Dickinson. Notovin closing in under the chase, but still waiting and hopefully getting past on that McLaren. But there are pit stops. Yeah, there we go. Dickinson is in the pit lane. Notovin in the pits. Bob Nova in the pits. Prince Adam in the pits. So 31 minutes completed. Lap 15 done and dusted, and a whole host of drivers coming into pit lane. But there's drama in the background. That is one of the back markers. I think that might have been Omega.
No,
Prince Adam's in the pits. So not Omega. I think it might have been. Who's the other one in the Mustang? That would be Paper Bag. That would have been the one that fallen off at Hell Corner. So, and that's the number 8 Mustang. That front end's looking rather second hand, I'm afraid. The right front corner. So, that car is crabbing.
Yes.
Yeah, that car's crabbing. So, Paper Bag's going to have to do the best part of 3.9 miles around the circuit with a crabbing car. And the steering, looks like it's pulling to the right ever so slightly.
That's a couple bent tie rods on the front of that Mustang.
Yeah. So that ain't gonna be no picnic driving back to pit road.
All right, so most of the drivers have pitted now. Who we see? Simply Steve here out in the front. Teague is not super. All have not pitted just. So right now the top 6, 7 cars have all stayed out. We'll see what kind of
So
outlap Dickinson's going to have here if he can make up a bunch more time here on Steve. I don't think anybody's taking tires right now. Probably just fuel, my guess.
yeah, I would imagine so. But also, it's going to be a case of if you want to keep your weapon sharp, you can decide to take the tyres on now. But here we see the battle for 5th place. Zach versus Cat Daddy. Cat Daddy now trying to pull alongside is Simply Steve and Tijish make their way into pit lane. Oh, that was a bit of a stumble there.
And Mr. Defense comes into play one more time there. Zach just gave him just barely enough room. But Cat Daddy had to catch the curb down there, and that upset the car enough that Zach was able to get out back in front as they head down into the pits.
So, Sector is the only one on this lap that has yet to pit. Now decides to do so. Right, this is going to then circle round. So Sean Dickinson is going to be back in the race lead with, well, Beavers come in for a for a stop, and effectively was in for about 3.9 seconds for the previous time because that was a return to garage after damage was suffered. I think it wasn't at, I think it was at Belle Isle, but yeah, these battles are going to be thick and fast, at least for the next 10 minutes whilst we wait for the order to recirculate, you know, get this gestation period of the pit stop cycles out of the way, and let the drivers carry on until they need to do another pit stop.
Yeah, you know, it looks like a lot of drivers did decide to take tires. Dickinson was in the pits for 23 seconds. Most other drivers as well, about 23 to 24 second pit stop. So it looks like maybe they're taking tires on this first stop. We'll see if, you know, Bathurst. I'm not, you know, in that mountain section, that twisty bit up on the top of the racetrack. You know, maybe I'm guessing that's a little bit tough on tires. We've had, as you called it, some quite a few drivers kicking out some kitty litter there too. So that's actually going to be a little abrasive on the tires as well. So it looks like most of the drivers are taking advantage of this two-stop race and putting on some new shoes here for this as we get about a third of the way through the race right now.
Yeah, so it's all about hitting your marks, staying calm, cool, composed, deep breaths, and just making it work. And that just goes to show how much hard work these drivers put in. But Cat Daddy has just got a black flag penalty, and that will be for more than likely the upper echelon of how many penalties you can get in terms of the black book being marked for your car.
Yeah, 20x I think was the limit.
First drive through 20x, then we've got a subsequent drive through at 8x, and then might not be plain sailing with regards to the team at the sharp end, because they'll also score points for where their drivers finish. But yeah, like you were saying, it's never easy when we see these. But still, there's a few races carrying on. Cat Daddy has got to serve a black flag penalty, so be interesting to see how that works out for the number 69 in the Porsche. Tijish, in the meantime, has closed up to Simply Steve and is probably the best part of 2 seconds behind the McLaren just up ahead. So from my perspective, it's going to be a case of we're going to have that, as James likes to call it, the F1 lull, where you can sit comfortably in your armchair with your iPad or your phone attached to your MagSafe whilst eating a little bit of chow. But these drivers are really pushing hard at the moment, and it's quite good to see that on a series that is still growing in numbers, folks.
Yeah, you know, they picked one of the toughest tracks to you really got to stay focused here at Mount Panorama. In 90 minutes here, it can take it out of you. You know, right now, most of the drivers, we've seen a few mistakes here and there. But I'm really, we get towards the end of this race here. We get into the last 15 or 20 minutes of it. We're going to see who has the mental capability to stay focused for this long on this. I mean, this is challenging getting up through this section of the racetrack, but it'll definitely take it out of you. I mean, you know, it's just like we've talked another. Oh, is that Cat Daddy off right there, or was that
Oh,
Jen? Or let me see. I'm trying to remember who Cat Daddy's teammate is.
I think it's not Pebble. I think it's yeah, it's definitely not Yomega because that's a different livery.
There we go. It's Garlic Dog.
Oh,
A little bit of back and forth. Yeah, doing a good job not getting out in the way of traffic right there. So a little bit of an off there, a little mistake there. As we talked about, you got to stay focused up in that section of the racetrack. And Garlic Dog with a little mistake, going to fall back to about the 19th position after starting in 18th.
yep. Some are making gains. T-Jish at the moment is closing that gap to Simply Steve, which is now down to just under 1.9 seconds as we speak. So that BMW, as when we were talking in the post-race interview after last week on our previous circuit. So it's more the case of how you handle this one. Oh dear, Prince Adam trying to go through on Eat My Dust, and that's going through Reed now into Solomon. The Mustang does seem to now have the legs a little bit more.
Yeah, Prince Adam with a good run here, up 3 spots, trying to catch Eat My Dust. Eat My Dust, Simply Steve's teammate, just made it out here for just the last couple of races of the season, but been looking really strong, running in the top 5 right now. But has a mirror full of that Mustang or Prince Adam right now. But get a little separation here through this twisty bit up here on the top of the racetrack. But I think what we're going to see is they come out of Forest Elbow here in a few seconds, heading down that long straightaway. I think you're going to see Prince Adam close back up on the back of Eat My Dust.
Cat Daddy's just got the black warning flag, so that's going to be a trip down pit lane. So this battle here is one that we've been, we've been waiting to see, and now you get to see it here live and in wonderful colour, sound, and vision. But
And Prince Adam didn't make up quite as much ground coming down the hill as I thought he would. So Eat My Dust doing a really good job, playing some good defense right here, trying to get a little separation as well. You know, if you get that car out of your mirror and you can focus on what you're doing, you know, you want to go forward. You don't want to be looking back too much.
completely agree there. Thank you very much to Josh, one of our detailers. So Cat Daddy will probably have another 2 laps to bring that car in, and then that will promote a lot of people that are behind it all. So
Let's take a look and see how relaxed Sean still is here in the car. Just up there on a Sunday cruise, got almost a 7-second lead now on Steve. So after those early battles, just kind of tucked in back there in second place. Now putting quite the gap here on the field, now over 7 seconds. So just every corner here actually gaining a few hundredths of a second.
at this point, with just 41.5 minutes remain until as long as the bonnet screws will need to be in as well. So
Looks like we may have had another off from Garlic. Take a look at Sassy here on the back of Cat Daddy. That 13th and 14th position. Cat Daddy's had to come in and serve that black flag, as you mentioned. Comes back out on the racetrack in the grass of Sassy. Sassy, a victim of kind of being in the wrong place earlier with Sector, a little bit of contact, but Sassy now trying to make the way back up towards the front of the, trying to get back up in that top 10 where he was fighting at earlier in the race. We may have had another incident with Garlic Dog. Take a look at this. Maybe just another mistake up here. Oh, not quite sure what that was, but it actually got stopped before it made any contact with anything.
Seems like there are some further mistakes going in.
All right, we'll jump back up towards the front. So we've got, looks like Teagish may have closed the ground on the back of Simply Steve. Less than a second now as they head up through here, up through Skyline and down through the S's. Simply Steve holding on at second position. It looks like we may have had another incident with Garlic Dog. We won't take over and look, but he jumped down into the pit. So Garlic Dog not having the day they'd hoped for here at Bathurst. Take a look here at Teagish. Coming up on the halfway mark of this race, 43, almost 44 minutes in. And it's still Sean Dickinson out in front by almost 9 seconds now over this battle for second. Simply Steve and Teagish. We talked earlier, Teagish switched over to the BMW this week. Looking really strong. Looks like got pretty comfortable with it in a short amount of time after running the Mustang most of the season. Trying to find a way around Steve here for that second position. Come back here and take a look at Prince Adam in 6th, trying to find a way around Eat My Dust. So both Simply Steve and Eat My Dust, the two teammates in the McLarens, both got their hands full, hanging on to what they got. Steve fighting with Teagish there for second. Eat My Dust trying to fight off that Mustang or Prince Adam. We've watched this battle off and on for about the last 2 or 3 laps as well. Look back here as well. So Sassy back here in 14th, still fighting with Cat Daddy. Good shot right here as they head up the hill, up in the Quarry Bend. Let's see if we can get some different camera angles here for you. There you go. That's a nice shot right there into the bend. Sassy trying to chase down Cat Daddy for that top 13 there. Overly's kind of glitched out there. I'm not sure what that was, but Donovan was hoping to had a kind of a long shot chance to take the championship away from Dickinson, but just not working out in his favor. So Donovan running a good solid 4th place right now in this race. Even if he's not going to win the championship, he's going to secure second because he was fighting with Joshua Spears. I thought we saw Spears in practice earlier, but did not make the race. I didn't mention that earlier, but so Donovan holding on to that 4th position. We'll take a look back up here. Teagish still lurking right there behind Simply Steve. Prince Adam one more time trying to find a way around Eat My Dust. One more time around here. So Prince Adam's gonna have to fight another day, but Eat My Dust doing a good job of defense right here, holding on to that 5th position. Jumping back and forth here. Take a look here at Beaver now up behind Sector. Sector with a mistake earlier put him back just a little bit way in this race. But Beaver now, he's got his hands full with Beaver. Beaver, once again, we've talked about this so many times this season, just seems to struggle in qualifying. 17th here today, but now up to 12th, trying to get around sector for that 11th position. All right, just taking a quick look at our live feed here real fast. We've had some problems over the last few weeks, but it looks like we may have got them straightened out. I hope. It looks like it's. If you've seen any issues out there, let me know in the chat. But it looking pretty good from our end. So we're taking a look at Teagish. Teagish picked up a win earlier this season and kind of back there at Roval in the rain, and has struggled a bit the last few races. But the switch to BMW looks to pay off. Looking for a solid finish here, up on the podium right now, but looking to take second spot away from Simply Steve, but just not able to find a hole. Just looking for a gap somewhere. But definitely Teagish with a little bit better pace, and you can see Nodovan lurking back there in the back and forth. Take a look at one more time at Sean Dickinson. Relaxed, leading this race, almost an 8-second lead. You can see Sean kind of giving the car a little body English, helping it turn down into the corner. But a good shot. Really thanks to Sean for letting us come into his gaming room here. Bringing up the in-car webcam with us. We tried to do this early in this season, but we just didn't have enough bandwidth. So but once again, I'm Chris Murphy with my good friend Alex Goldschmidt with the JP Broadcasting. You know, if you haven't already hit it out there, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button out there. If you have a league, you're looking for some coverage, we've got a lot of good producers and commentators. We can definitely got some more holes in the calendar, let's put it that way. So if you got some out there you're looking to get covered, you want to get some broadcast for, reach out to James there on JP Broadcasting on the YouTube channel there, and we'll get you scheduled in somewhere. As we'll look at one more time here at Prince Adam, trying to get around Eat My Dust for this 5th spot. One more time, we'll take a look up here at Teagish. Looks like Teagish might have fallen off a little bit. Was putting some pressure on Simply Steve. Looking at my event log to see if there was any kind of an incident of some kind, but it looks like maybe just lost a little pace there. Had a little mistake somewhere, but now almost 2 seconds back now from Teagish. So let's see if we can find us another good battle here on the racetrack. So it looks like Prince Adam still. And that Mustang all over the back of Eat My Dust here. And you can see just looking, he's definitely got the speed. I think you're going to look to the outside. There he goes, that moves out to the left. Steve's got to move to the outside. Nice move there. Trying to get around Eat My Dust, but just not enough as they headed up into Corey Bend. That's a tough place to pass on the outside, but a good run there from Adam. One more time. Eat My Dust lives one more lap there in that 5th position. And as they've been fighting here, that's letting Bob Nova kind of creep up there in the back as well. So we're looking to maybe have a 3-car race here for 5th here pretty soon. Looks like to be one of the closest battles on the race. It's definitely the closest battle on the racetrack right now. Is Simply Steve, still about almost 8 seconds back from Dickinson. Teagish now almost a second and a half back from Simply Steve. Things have kind of settled out here as we're just about 2/3 of the way through this race. 90-minute race. We're at the 52nd minute coming up. Our biggest mover in the race right now, we look back at Beaver one more time. Poor qualifying effort from Beaver, but a good race pace up to 11th right now, up 6 spots after starting 17th. And let's see, he's got about 6 seconds to catch Bob Wallace. So that's a hefty amount of work right there for Beaver to make up any more spots to get his way up into the top 10. One more time, Prince Adam. As they come around to start one more lap. One nice move down to the inside. As they head down the pit straight into Hell Corner, it looks like Prince Adam's finally got position. Into Hell Corner is going to have that inside line, but Eat My Dust fights back up on the outside, but a little bit off right there. Drives off the racetrack into the grass. Nice save there. And actually lives up to his name, as now Bob Nova's behind there eating his dust of Eat My Dust, so off into the grass. But Prince Adam finally gets it done after trying to get around Eat My Dust ever since since that pit stop, probably about the last 10 or 15 minutes now. And now Eat My Dust has to worry about that Porsche of Bob Nova right there behind him now. So Prince Adam, patient, waited for the right opportunity, made a good run coming out of Murray's Corner there on that little pitch straight. That's a really short straightaway, but was able to take advantage of it and move up into that fifth position in that Mustang. So Prince Adam now up 4 spots. And we look here at Bob Nova trying to find a way around Eat My Dust. Eat My Dust with a little bit of contact with the wall right there. Doesn't look like you're hurt of speed too much. So Teak is now up into 3rd. Has his sights set on Simply Steve. Actually, it looks like running Steve down just a little bit. Just a little under a second now, about 3/4 of a second between the two. Take a look back here at Bob Nova. Bob Nova trying to get around Eat My Dust. Eat My Dust got his hands full here with Bob Nova all over the back of him. Alex needed to step away for just a minute, so Chris Murphy here in the booth, Alex Goldschmidt here as well. Bob Nova now looking to get around Eat My Dust here, get up into the top 6. So Bob started in 6th, back to 7th, trying to get back into the place where he started. It's our best battle we got going on right here. We'll jump around just a little bit wherever we can throughout the field. You see Prince Adam now actually making up, putting some distance here between these two. It looks like we might have had Jen off the track. We'll jump back or take a look at that real quick. Not sure what happened. Just gets down to the corner, off just a little too much pace, off into the grass. Able to gather up. Nice save there from Jen. We'll take a look here. The Omega also with an off here. It's like about the same place. Catches that curve. Near as lucky as Jen. It's going to spin it around backwards, but oh, a little bit of oh, big hit. Was that Sean Dick? It was Sean Dickinson. So Omega spun around right there. Let's go back and take a look at that. So as the Omega was spinning around, Dickinson come around and just catches the front of the car. So a little bit, it's got to be some damage on the right front of Dickinson's car. We're going to see how that plays out for the rest of this race. We'll see if we can get a shot of it here. Don't see a lot of damage there in that shot, but that definitely was some contact that we saw on our screen. So, and the gap has closed it up a little bit. It was a little over 7 seconds. It's now down to about 6.5. So we'll see how this plays out now for Sean Dickinson. Unfortunately, a lap car's getting involved with a lap car's accident or incident right there. A little mistake. That could have cost Sean Dickinson the race right there, but doing a good job, just barely kind of a glancing blow on our screen anyway. And actually still losing a little bit of pace. You can see on the interval now down to 6.3 seconds. So there might be a little bit of damage there on that BMW of Sean Dickinson. His pace does seem to have dropped off. Now down to 6.1. So we're going to keep an eye on this because it's definitely, Dickinson was way out in front of this thing, but you can see Simply Steve and Teagish now making up some ground. Little gingerly there. So Sean Dickinson now, it's almost under 6 seconds. He's definitely got some problems with that car. You can almost see that right front might actually be dipped down just a little bit. We have about 32 minutes left in this race right now. We're going to go back and take a look at that one more time and just see how hard of a shot that was for Sean Dickinson. So you can see Sean here coming through. Let's see here. Oh. So you can see just nowhere to go. Comes through the corner right there. By Omega sitting in the middle of the racetrack, and just you could definitely see caught some damage there on that right front. And the gap is still closing down. 5.7 seconds now. So we got to make one more stop. I think Sean's just trying. He's just trying to wait. He knows he's got to make it to at least a half an hour left in this race to be able to pit and make it to the end of the race. So I think he's just waiting. There is definitely some damage on the right front of that car. Simply Steve and Teagish both catching Dickinson here. This could be the chance that Nottoman's looking for. Nottoman's sitting back there in fourth right now, still with a long shot to win the championship. This might just be the problem for Dickinson that Nottoman was hoping for. But Dickinson still out in the front. Simply Steve now 5.5 seconds. Oh, he's gaining about, looked like about a tenth to 2/10 of a second every quarter of a lap here. Teagish also sitting back here in third. Teagish was all over the back of Steve, but's lost a little bit of ground now. Settled back here about a 1.5 back. We're going to take a look here. Bob Nova still fighting out with Eat My Dust here for the 6th and 7th position. And actually it looks like Beaver has caught Not Super here for that 10th position. And is going to easily go by Not Super. Not Super maybe with a problem. So Beaver now up to 10th after starting in 17th. We're going to jump back up here to the front. 5.5 seconds to gap. Dickinson kind of picked the pace up just a little bit. And you can definitely see the right front of that car is dipped down on the racetrack. Take a look at the in car here. You can see Sean sweating a little bit. He can see Simply Steve and Teagish now in the mirror. I would bet we're going to see him come into the pits here in one more lap. Holding that pace, holding that gap just a little bit better now, about 5.4, 5.5. Oh, sorry, we look at Bob Nova here. Bob Nova's still in that 7th position, trying to find a way around Eat My Dust. And we look back to Beaver. Beaver now has caught Bob Wallace only a couple seconds back. Now he was, when Beaver cleared Cat Daddy in that group back there to move up into 11th, he was about 10 seconds back of this Bob Wallace up here. And he has closed the gap now. Only less than 2 seconds right now, so Beaver's still on a charge. You know, this being the last race of the season, if Beaver just needs to practice his qualifying efforts for next season, I think we'd see him a little bit closer to the front. All right, we'll take a look one more time. We're watching that gap now, the gap between Sean Dickinson and Simply Steve now down to about 4.5 seconds. Where is Sean on the racetrack? I don't know my corners on this track nowhere near as well as Alex does. So coming down, yeah, just as we expected. Sean Dickinson is going to come into the pits here, struggling to get into the pits right there. We're going to have to see if this is going to be a long stop for repairs. So just what Sean Dickinson didn't want to have happen tonight. He was dominant in this race, sat on the pole. He has won. Oh, actually, no, he didn't sit on the pole. I'm sorry, started second in this race. Was not able to take the 10 for 10 on the poles this season. And unfortunately, coming down to the pits right now, that is going to hand the lead to Simply Steve. Teagish right there as well. So both race winners this season. Simply Steve picked up the win at Brands Hatch. Teagish winning at Charlotte at the Roval, as we talked earlier. So see if they can both pick up their second wins. But Nottingham not too far back. Nottingham also picked up a win as well. And I was just trying to pause for a second because I was trying to remember what track it was, and I could not remember. So Dickinson now out of the pits. 23-second stop. So not much for repairs, but probably did take on a set of tires. So we're going to see how that plays out, as we're going to see pit stops for everybody here within the next couple of laps, would be my assumption, as we can take a look here. So Sean comes out of the pits right there behind Beaver, as we have, it looks like Bob Nova and Bob Wallace both pitting in those Porsches. I think we see Dickinson out there coming out and getting those tires warmed up. He's going to come out in 7th right now. All 6 cars in front of him still have to pit one more time. And we're going to see how this plays out. His outlap not here, not looking real strong. So if Simply Steve can come in here, get a clean pit stop, have a good outlap, he might close up some of that gap. We'll see how this plays out. Teagish now in 2nd, Nottingham in 3rd. Eat My Dust 4th, Zach in 5th. So Zach with another good run this week. And we still have this battle for 9th and 10th here with Prince Adam and Cat Daddy. Prince Adam was able to move up a few spots earlier, but now finds himself behind the Porsche. Cat Daddy trying to find a way around. And we are now in that. We started in the dark. We started in the morning hours, where it is now nice and bright and sunny, which it has been for a while. I probably just didn't mention it. So Nottingham coming down into the pits in that number 28. 2nd place in the points. Nottingham needs a good stopper. He gets out, can get out cleanly with a good outlap to move up to the front. And it looks like we may have had another incident with Pebble. We'll take a look at that real quick. Pebble's had struggles here today in that portion, and one more time just loses it. That's so easy to do up in that section of the racetrack. You get down to the corner a little bit too hard, get on the brakes a little bit. It forces you to get on the brakes too hard, and that's going to bring the back of the car around. Exactly what happened there to Pebble. We will jump back over to live time here. That's enough shot of the Porsche. Simply Steve still out in front. Where are they here? Let's see. Heading up through the S's. We got a little caution up there. Like Pebble back on the racetrack. So Simply Steve, it looks like Teagish has fallen back just a little over a second. Has maintained that gap back about 1.2 seconds now. That could change coming into the pits here. Appreciate you out there watching us. My name's Chris Murphy, here with JP Broadcasting. My partner Alex Goldschmidt had to step away for a moment. As we watched Simply Steve, we watched our leader Sean Dickinson leading most of this race, get involved with a lap car just about 5-10 minutes ago. Was able to make it way into the pits, and now we see our 2 leaders, so Simply Steve and Teagish, both dive down into the pits. I assume we're probably going to see the same thing here from Eat My Dust and the rest of these top 6 or 7 left in the field. So we're going to see what kind of gap that leaves. If Steve can get in and out of the pits quickly. Been down in the pits now for a little bit.
Tejish, Eat My Dust, Zach, Beaver, they're all in pit lane. Will Sean Dickinson go through? Is he going to stay where he is? Sean Dickinson does cross the line. He has done a pit stop a little bit earlier than those that have just gone in. So this now puts Sean Dickinson with 22.5 minutes in pit lane. But if he wants to do this, capture this, he's got the fastest lap of the race, so he's got those additional 2 points. And that is going to give him the title, but he wants to win it. And look, Tejish and Simply Steve, they are squabbling over that race lead. And what is now happening is the fact that he is going to be right on their heels in about the next 20, and probably, I would say, at the rate they're battling here, Chris, in the next couple of minutes, I think Sean Dickinson is going to be with them. And now, yeah, I mean, that gap's coming down, like 1.6 seconds, coming up to 1.5 seconds. Yeah, look, Sean Dickinson has gone right.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. He's catching them hand over fist. He's not going to give them an ounce of breathing room now.
No, Sean had an incident with a lap car. Y Omega here a while back had to come into the pits. Had about a 6-second lead at the time. Dove down into the pits. Came out here, actually did not have a good outlap either, and that allowed simply Stephen Teagish to get out in front. As you know, before that happened, Dickinson had almost an 8-second lead at that point. So now we've got a race on our hands. As it looked like Sean Dickinson was going to run away with this race. Now we got a 3-car battle up here in the front with about 21 minutes left now.
Yeah, and Simply Steve, a little bit of adjustment, puts the car left to keep it as wide as humanly possible into the chase. He's trying to block every single attack that Tejish is going to throw at him. And they are 0.3 of a second apart. Now down into Murray's Corner. We're about to start lap 34. And that is probably going to give us probably about another 10 laps or so, I would think, of racing. So we could be at 44 laps by the checkered flag. But Sean Dickinson, now the top 3 are now covered by 1.7 seconds. Now make that 1.5. Nosovin has managed to jump a few other drivers in the pit lane phases through careful strategy and positioning. He's now up into P4, but he's 3 seconds back. You can see him in the back of the shot there. So, yeah, simply Steve and Tejish, if they keep on battling, oh, Sean's going to close in and overtake both of them. It's not going to be a case of if, it's going to be a case of when.
Yeah, we've had 4 different race winners this season, and right now they're all in the top 4. Simply Steve, Teagish, Dickinson, and Nodovan. Nodovan trying to make up some ground right there. Has looked really good here late in this race. And actually, you know, Sean Dickinson, he's actually lost a little bit of ground there. He took some damage on the right front of that car in that incident with Y Omega, and was not really in the pits for a long period of time for a lot of repair. I'm not sure if he got that car completely put back together. You can almost see that right front fender still looks a little bit off. It looks to be hurt. He's not making up ground on Teagish as he was when he first came out of the pits.
No, but one of the things that's going to play into his hands, look, they've got back market traffic in front. That is going to give Sean a little bit of a possible bit of daylight at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. So that will help him no end. But it just depends if that back marker does not get out of the way quickly. And that is going to be
Biker Pilot.
Yeah, Biker Pilot, the sponsor of the Bathurst Brat Party, as the 2 leaders, Lyda Stern, coming out of the chase again. 0.2 of a second is the gap.
Teagish going to take a look there to the right.
Yeah, but Simply Steve was going to cover that off anyway. You can't, you know, if you're right on the rear of somebody else going down into Murray's Corner, and now they're flashing at the number 42 of Biker Pilot, who is the last driver on the lead lap.
Gonna move over out of the way there.
He's going to pull out of the way. Yeah, he's going to pull out of the way here, and yeah, this is going to be crucial. What happens in these next couple of moments? This is going to be possibly the moment that might decide this race. Tejish to the outside of Simply Steve going into Griffin's Bend. They are millimetres apart. Simply Steve parks it on the racing line, and Tejish stays ahead for the moment. And Sean Dickinson is going to get a wicked toe from.
Oh, Teagish going to go. That's gutsy right there.
Oh, that's not going to work, I'm afraid. Knew it was going to try, but he gets a
Oh,
little bit of a wiggle. Oh, he's through. He nipped through. Coming out of Quarry. Tejas is in the lead, and now Sean Dickinson is both for the back bumper of Simply Steve. Going through into Reed, into Saltman, into McPhillamy, and then on the run down to Brock's Skyline. And Tejas now hits the front. Dickinson is trying to get through. He won't get through now. He's got to wait until Forest Elbow.
Definitely not going to make a pass here. That is the gutsiest pass we have seen all day long. Tegas making a hole underneath Simply Steve that we're going to take once this straightens out here a little bit. We'll go back and take a look at it. As you see Dickinson now, they come off of Forest Elbow, trying to get a run on Simply Steve. So it looks like that switch to BMW for Tegas is really paying off this week. Had a solid run all day long here. Finds his way out in front after some problems for Dickinson. So Tegas taking advantage of all of that. We got 17 minutes left to go.
This is really coming down to the wire. What's going to happen in these next few important moments? Tejas leads as we complete lap 35 here at Mount Panorama for the final round of this season, the Just Two Idiots Cup Series, and Dickinson now is alongside and is past. He's a nose ahead of Simply Steve. Will get the inside line for Hell's Corner, and it's now a BMW 1-2. Dickinson now is now showing a sign of intent. Nodovan has also got through, as Garlic Dog has got a black flag. That's going to be for incident point limits being hit. So now Dickinson has got Simply Steve to his outside, going through into Griffin's Bend. No, Simply Steve, that ain't going to work, I'm afraid.
Let's go back.
That ain't going to work.
Let's go back and take a look at that pass by Tegas. This thing's kind of settled out here. Takes a look to the right.
Yeah, he takes a look to the right, and Simply Steve says, no, you're not going to try and do anything there. And Tejas just launches the car out of the corner, and you can just see, there was a car's width. There was a car's width, and on the curbing, they make a little bit of contact, and Tejas gets through on the run to Reed Park and gets the job done before they go through into Sulman. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought there would have been a move there. Did Dickinson just clip the wall? Possibly. Might have had a little scrape going after Tejas, but now out of Forest Elbow they will go once again. And you can see that Sean is, look at the concentration on his face. He now is gunning for that final victory of the season. He does not want to see Tejas take a victory away. He wants to close it off in style here at the mountain.
Yeah, Dickinson had this race under control until an incident sent him to the pits a little bit earlier with some damage. So now, but he has found his pace back here one more time. He is all over the back of Tegas. Going to look to the right side. Is this heading up into Murray's?
Oh, this is going to be close. And he's going to throw it around the outside. He's throwing the haymaker.
That is the second time we've seen Dickinson make that move today. He made it on Simply Steve earlier. Tegas fighting back on the inside as they head through Hell's Corner. Up the mountain straight. And that outside line of Dickinson's going to give him enough of a run. And you can see the jubilation on his face right there. I think he's even surprised he made that move.
I think he's just like saying, how on earth have I just done that for the second time tonight? My goodness me. Sean Dickinson is now going to be, he's going to make that car as wide as humanly possible for 14 minutes if he does not want either Tejas or Simply Steve to get through on him. But now the smile quickly goes away on the man's face. So, folks, the brat party ain't quite finished yet. Stick with us, don't touch that dial, and hold on. This is going to be a roller coaster ride. And there we see the sign, the J2ICS season finale, a logo actually created by Mr. Chris Murphy, which I have to say, chapeau to. Oh, Tejas goes so wide coming out of McPhillamy. Oh, he nearly lost second position, and that has given Sean Dickinson that opportunity to get maybe an 0.8 of a second advantage. Tejas carried too much speed. Did not, I think he just understeered off and nearly hit the barriers, and he was lucky not to go into the wall and pinball over the side and through Brock's Skyline. and take out inadvertently Simply Steve. And look, you can see the change of facial expression on Sean Dickinson. He knows that it was going to come down to one moment. I think that might have been the moment that could have just decided this motor race.
I agree 100%. Yeah, Tegas was right on the back of Dickinson. He's actually lucky that Simply Steve backed off right there as well. Simply Steve saw Tegas's mistake and actually got out of the throttle, it looked like, to give Tegas some room to get gathered up, so they didn't have an incident themselves. But you know, they're still doing a good job of holding on to the back of Dickinson. Dickinson does not quite have the pace that he had early on in this race. When he was once he got around Simply Steve earlier, he pulled away here. Where they're both on, all three of these on fresh tires. And actually, if you look back there in fourth, Nodovan showing some more pace, trying to work his way up on the back of this group as well. So we could have a 4-car, or at least I think Dickinson's going to hold on the lead here if he doesn't make any mistakes. But we could have a 3-car battle for second here before it's over with.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that Tejas lost lost exactly 0.7 of a second off of Dickinson. We're going to have a look at this going through into the compression zone, into Reed and then into McPhillamy. You're going to see the car understeer, and he goes on the curbing. Carried too much speed through there, I think. It wasn't understeer, it was too much throttle from Tejas, and he nearly straight lined it going through Brock's skyline and into the S's through the dipper. He was a very, very lucky driver behind the wheel of that number 97 BMW. But now the gap is extended to 1.1 seconds. So this means that Sean Dickinson has got the lead under control once again. And it's just through, as I said, it was going to be a case of this circuit. You have nowhere to absolutely hide. We've got 11 minutes on the clock. So once we cross the line, we're probably going to have another 5 or 6 laps left to go until the checkered. I think Tejas will be ruining the day that he carried too much speed going through Solman and into McPhillamy, and thereby that was it. It was game over for a potential race win. He's also in turn pulling away from Simply Steve. So that initial life in the tyres have sort of like been taken away as that upper layer of bitumen has been scrubbed off them.
Yeah, take a look here at Nodovan. You can see the gap. Nodovan looking up towards that battle for second and third. Been closing that in just a little bit every lap, as they're going to start one more lap with, like you said, about 10, 11 minutes left to go in this race. Nodovan, if he can get up here towards the point, has a chance. I don't think, actually, I was going to try to build some drama there, but I don't think it's really going to happen. I think at this point, Dickinson's got the championship locked up. Nodovan's doing everything he can to get up there. But even at this point, if Dickinson does not, even if he has a mistake here, I think it's still his championship. Nodovan needed to have the pole, win this race, lead the most laps, have the fastest lap. He had to do everything to get the championship here, but he's doing a great job running fourth. He's got second spot in the championship locked up, so just a good drive here from Nodovan. Just solid run here on this last race of the season.
Yeah, and you can still see that Corvette Z06, a Z06 GT3R. That car has got still a little bit of slight damage to the right front side of that split. Oh, Tejas is flirting with disaster with the wall going through into Sulman Park before they hit the compression zone into McPhillamy. Tejas is pushing to try and keep Simply Steve at bay, and the biggest thing is now that gap has expanded to 1.7, make that 2 seconds now that he's really been trying to close that gap. But I think Tejas, if I'm honest with you, Chris, that car is being overdriven because he's trying to say, I really want to get back with Sean and try and battle him for the race win, battle him for the W. And he's coming under fire now. Simply Steve, I think, has got a very good opportunity to have a good run at him to get second place in the final race of the season here at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, it's the easy thing to do. Tegas found his way to the point here. I don't think he really expected to find himself out in the front of this race at the start of this thing. Got his way to the point, and now he's sitting there in second. He can see Dickinson up there. He's pushing. And, as a driver, you can actually slow yourself down by driving too hard, like you said. Sometimes you just need to settle down, take a breath, and slow down just a little bit, and you'll actually pick up some pace. So we'll see what Tegas can do here late in this race with just a few minutes left to go. But Got a lot of pressure there. He's trying to catch Dickinson, and he's got Simply Steve filling up the mirror. So really can't back off, but maybe just needs to take a breath. Just look at Simply Steve taking a look to the left side there, kind of showing him, Steve kind of showing him, hey, I got a little pace here as well.
Yeah, I think we're both singing from the same song sheet here, Chris, to be honest with you, because now the focus for Tejish cannot be with a 3-second advantage in the hands of Sean Dickinson. Simply Steve now has a chance. Oh, again, so close to the wall was Tejish. And look, Notovin has got that gap between him and Simply Steve down to a second. So I think both of them at points have been a little bit guilty of overdriving that car. And you can see that Tejish just went a little bit close to the wall, just a little bit too much steering lock to the left-hand side, and got so close to the wall through Brock's skyline. That has now put Simply Steve within striking distance, and now Notovin is within a second of Simply Steve. So this is going to be a 3-horse race for that second place, for the final 2 steps on the rostrum. So it is Tejish versus Simply Steve, as now Jen just up ahead of Sean Dickinson going through the chase, and Jen just stays in front for the moment, but we'll have to let Sean Dickinson get through very shortly because the blue flags, they will be waving for the number 92, for the number 99 car, and Jen keeps out of the way as they go through into Murray's corner. Sean Dickinson quickly expedites that. And now, well, Notovin this time around is going to be 6/10 of a second, so he's within striking distance of Simply Steve. And you can see the lap times. Sean Dickinson, 2-minute 4.7, 2minute 2.47, 2:03.43 for Tejish, 2:03.8 for Simply Steve, 2:03.108 for Notovin. And now second, third and fourth covered by 1.5 seconds approximately, as we are on lap 41. God, this has now become the this is going to be the crowning. Oh dearie me, again! Did you see that? Sparks flying from the right front fender of Tejish, and that has put him straight in the clutches of Simply Steve, because we've been running for, you know, they've had a long practice session. They've had 20 minutes of qualifying. They've had a warm-up in between. It's now the point where the mental and physical exhaustion is starting to creep in, and I think it's affecting our man in second position more than anybody else.
Yeah, Tigish with a few mistakes right there for sure has allowed Simply Steve to catch back up on the back of that BMW. As you can see him head down through the upper section of this racetrack, heading down out of Forest Elbow here, and back down the hill one more time. You see how close they are to that wall. It just doesn't take much. And you know, we talked about it earlier. Just you get towards the end of this race, you've been in the rig for not just 90 minutes of this race, but also for most of these guys were practicing for a couple hours beforehand. So it's they're getting physically tired, they're getting mentally tired, and you can see it's affecting Tigish here right now. We'll see if Steve can take advantage of it here with just a few minutes left to go.
Yeah, so we are coming towards the end of lap 41. Sean Dickinson will cross the line, and that will give us, just trying to work it out here in the math, it's going to give us 4 laps to go. So it is going to be a flat out sprint to the finish, as we see Simply Steve right with Tejish coming out of turn 1 through at Hell's Corner, and there is Jen just in front in the number 99 Corvette.
Could we see a little gamesmanship here from the from Notovin's teammate Jen? If Jen can back these two up just a little bit into the clutches of Notovin, I know that's you know, it's maybe not fair game in the GT3 racing, but we'll see how this plays out right here. So
yeah, I think you could be right there. There could be a little bit of teamwork, let's say, I think is probably the operative term I would use here, Chris, because look, Simply Steve is right with Tejish now, and it's going to be the case of, if Tejish makes a big mistake, it will play into the hands of the number 23 McLaren just behind. And again, so close to the wall through Sulman into McPhillamy, now into Brock's skyline. And oh, that was another glance off the wall by Tejish. I saw a little puff of smoke there. 3 minutes on the counter. And after this, it's going to be 2 laps to go. And now the frantic activity starts. Jen right in front of Tejish, who's got absolutely nowhere to go. Through into Forest Elbow. Simply Steve could pick up a double toe here.
Let's watch that gap close down. The Notavan actually was about 0.6 of a second behind Steve and lost about a second. And is not gaining a lot here as Jen Tegish has to get around the lap car. Jen is, I think Jen kind of backed him up there a little bit, but got out of the way. Could only do it for so long. It just was not able to help the teammate of Notavan. And Tegish and Simply Steve are through the lap traffic.
Yeah, another battle that's really starting to rear its head is the battle between Bob Wallace and Sector. It's Porsche versus Corvette, and Sector glances the wall. Coming through the S's, I think, a little bit, unless it was a little bit of our good friend Mr. Netcode. But it is going to be now the fact we have 2 laps remaining. That is basically about 12.4 kilometers, make that about 7.8 miles. Nearly 8 miles in total. The Sector is going to close in on Bob Wallace down the long Conrod Straight, one of the longest, and it's the fastest part of Australian motorsport. And there we go. Simply Steve is now realising that time is not on his side, neither are laps. And look at this.
He's going to try to do the same thing.
One way.
He's going to try to make the same move that Tegish made on him here?
I don't think he will. No, he's going to be wiser to it because he'll know that Tejish will anticipate that through into Reed Park and now into Sulman down the compression zone once again. And they're both very, very close to the wall. Oh, there's a glance again. Tejish with the right rear fender again strikes the wall coming out of Sulman and into McPhillamy. Simply Steve now knows that with just under 60 seconds to go on the timer, we might have one more lap after this. We're on lap 43 out of this race, so we are going to be tight on time. But I think next time around we could get the white flag lap, as at the minute, well, Sean Dickinson, it will be most of the way down Conrod Straight, and Simply Steve needed to be about 0.3 of a second behind Tejish to have any window of an opportunity to try and get through. He's got the full beams on. Sean Dickinson is now coming through the chase for what is going to be, if it's not the penultimate time, it could be the last time. Well, it is going to be the penultimate time because he's going to cross the line very shortly. 10 seconds to go as he hits Murray's corner here on what is lap 43. 1 lap to go. He crossed the line with 5 seconds to spare. White flag in the air. Sean Dickinson has 3.891 miles to go. And he's got a 5-second advantage. And now, well, Simply Steve, don't hit the button to activate your windscreen wiper at this time, my friend. Because there's no rain in the air here at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, he's reaching for every button he can right now.
I know. He's trying to change ABS or traction control settings or engine map settings. Now's the time to do it because they are not that far apart, not even
good run up the hill.
Not even half a car length.
Simply Steve
was so close. He was so close to the wall that time.
Yeah, Steve just needs to stay tight right here and get a the only chance he's going to have here is get a good run off of Forest Elbow. Hope Tegish makes a little mistake and Steve catches the wall just a little bit right there. Drops back about a car length. But if he can stay tight on Tegish, get a good run off of Forest Elbow down the hill, that is his chance right now. Tegish looks like he's kind of swerving around there a little bit, but unfortunately, Steve's losing some ground here through this upper section of the racetrack here on the last lap.
Yeah, and it could come down to the wire. We have gone over 90 minutes at the season finale for J2ICS, the Bathurst Bratwurst Party at Mount Panorama. Here we go. Simply Steve is looking for the opportunity. It is going to be side by side down the iconic Conrod Straight for the 44th and final time. Simply Steve will have the inside line going into turn number 21 at the chase. They go through turn 20. Simply Steve goes round to the outside. He's late. They're about the same on the brakes. And look, Simply Steve is going to get through. He's got it done. He's got it done. But the checking is going to be out. Sean Dickinson out of the final corner becomes the series champion here at the mountain. and he wins by 5.9 seconds. And here we go. Simply Steve takes seconds. Tijish edges out Notovin, who was right on his rear coming through the final corner by just over a quarter of a second. Wow, what a battle at the end. Tijish losing out second, ends up being P3. Notovin will, I think, capture second in the title standings. Prince Adam takes P5 in the Mustang, up 4 places from 9th on the starting grid. Eat My Dust takes 6th, ahead of Bob Nova and Beaver, who ran at your top 8. G-Bay will take 15th, ahead of Biker Pilot, who sponsored the Bathurst Bratwurst party here tonight. But, well, what can you say?
I'll go back and take a look at that pass by Simply Steve here.
Oh, that was epic. That was epic. Coming down into turn 20, he'd already put the car to the outside, got the inside line for turn 21, and gave... Now, the thing was, Simply Steve opened up the steering, which meant that Tijish had no other alternative but to keep the car not turning too far to the left-hand side. Otherwise, there would have been contact, and that would have provided Notovin an opportunity to get through on the pair of them to pick up the runners-up step on the podium here at Mount Panorama. But Sean Dickinson has done the job. He'd gotten the fastest lap of the race as well, so that's going to be 55 points to the man in the number 64 BMW, and he is your new series champion here at the mountain. What an epic 90 minutes of racing here, Chris. Absolutely outstanding.
Agree. Just a fantastic race. You know, Steve did everything he had to do right there at the end. Stayed close to Tigish. And sorry, my cameras are messing over. Stayed close to Tigish through the upper section of the racetrack, and was just able to get a better run down the hill. Able to make the pass down through the chase. That was just Tigish made an aggressive move on him there early on, and or excuse me, up there in the upper part of the racetrack we didn't expect. So Steve with just a great run, did everything he had to do, got back by Tigish for that second spot. So just a fantastic race all the way around.
Yeah, well, it's time for the Bathurst Bratwurst Party post-race after show. And, well, we've got to speak to a couple of the drivers. Let's bring in the man that has not only picked up the fastest lap of the race, but he's taken the victory, a total haul of 55 points. Let's see if we can bring him in. Sean Dickinson, I have to say this firstly, my friend, fastest lap of the race winner, and now series champion. How does that sound, buddy?
Oh, it sounds great. Right when Notovin didn't take pole, it was already written in stone. So I did all the math.
But I mean, still, let's be honest here, Sean. That race was not without drama for you, though. Anyway, wasn't it?
No, I was holding on for dear life that second stint, just trying to bring the car into the pits. And then I'm like, all right, screw it. Everything handles bad. I'm taking tires. I'm getting a fast repair. I don't know where everyone gained all that time from, but wow.
Yeah,
and then I had to work for it.
Yeah, Sean, you came across up there in that upper section. You came, Chris Murphy here, by the way, buddy. Hey, you came across the Y Omega, spun out up there, and unfortunately couldn't miss him. Took some damage on that right front, and you were losing time quickly. I was really shocked you were able. I mean, you ran. I was surprised you actually ran another lap or two with that damage before you came into the pits.
Yeah, luckily I didn't get a meatball, and I needed to go 2 more laps before I could make my pit window. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it to the end. But that spin, I saw Omega spin, and I saw his lights pointed directly at me, and I'm like, okay, well, he's going straight down the hill, so I don't have to worry about him here. And as soon as I crested that hill, I'm like, oh, there you are. That's not good.
We were hoping that Omega wasn't going to provide you with the Knight Rider style turbo boost moment there at the mountain, anyway, as well, huh?
Right? Yeah. Oh man, between him and then Garlic Dog making a mistake at the bottom of the hill, and I couldn't go inside of him, so I had to. I did have to punt him. I just gunned it and went to the outside wall, smallest gap.
Well, we
then,
didn't get that on get that on the stream, so no video didn't happen, right?
Oh, you guys didn't get it?
Didn't get the punt on Garlic Dog, but we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had the punt on Garlic Dog, so my wheel was cocked about 20 degrees. I got into it with pebbles. I tried to make a move on the hill because I had some speed, and it just didn't work. It was kind of a send, and then I had that incident. So 3 incidents in that second stint, and I didn't get a meatball. So
Yeah,
it was wild.
I was going to say, you've also had a little visitor from time to time by your sim rig, because we've got you on screen at the
Yeah.
moment. Who is that, by the way?
That is Merle and June. And then we have a cat named Aries. June, here we go.
Hey, also want to thank you for
She'll come over here.
letting us come into the race with a webcam. Looked really good. We jumped in there every once in a while, but
Oh, there
really
we
really
go.
appreciate it. It looked really good on the stream.
Feline and canines in harmony there, I see, Sean.
Yep, we got them all. They're all my roommates' animals, but they like me, so we're good.
But like you say, I mean, mega race. I mean, obviously, just talk us through before you got that big gap. I mean, T-Jish and Simply Steve were just hustling you quite a lot in the dying stages of the race with about 15, 20 minutes to go. I mean, it looked like it was touch and go as to whether you were going to get the win or whether you were going to finish in third.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to get past Steve at the beginning. He was very fast, and he broke my streak of qualifying. And then when I came out of the pits, I couldn't believe how much time everyone else gained. I did take a little bit too much fuel, but yeah, I'm glad I was able to battle with them. I think the fresh tires helped, even though that probably hurt me the first couple laps and helped their advantage there. But I was able to make it work on I think they were all in turn 23.
Yeah, especially with those round the outside moves, doing the old Slim Shady M&M round the outside. Sean, congratulations on the win, fastest lap, and also becoming the series champion. Before we let you go, buddy, thanks so much for allowing us to have your camera on screen during the broadcast as well. Who would you like to thank with regards to picking up the J2ICS crown here at Mount Panorama?
Yeah, I gotta thank the J2S guys hosting this whole thing. Thanks to the SimCity guys supporting me doing the racing. My teammate Josh, my other buddy Pancakes helped me out with the setups and stuff, and Adam helping me with testing with the other cars. And then yeah, thanks to you guys for broadcasting all this. I'm glad the camera worked out this time.
It certainly did, Sean. Congratulations, and we'll let you get on with the rest of your evening. But well done tonight. Congratulations on the championship.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So a big thank you there to Sean. Now we're going to have a chat with our runner-up who did break Sean Dickinson's pole position streak. Simply Steve joins us now. Hello, Simply Steve. You finally broke what no one else had been able to do all season. You broke Sean Dickinson's pole streak for 9 successive races and beat him by, I think it was just the 10th. But you know, it was a very close race at the end of it all, when it was all said and done.
Yeah. I mean, this was probably my favorite race of the entire season. Yeah, I mean, all in all, just like me and Sean were close for the first stint, and then T-Gish started kind of coming up towards the end, and like we jumped Sean a little bit on the start. Not sure how that happened, but yeah, like really close racing, which doesn't always happen in these 90-minute races. But yeah, I mean, whenever I can get a little pace on Sean, I'm happy to be able to say that, which is not too many folks can say that because Sean is wicked fast. So
let's just talk about that moment where T-Gish actually got through on you at one of the most one of the most surprising places, and that was coming out of the cutting. Like literally, there was a car's width. He bumped over the curbs and got through on you. What was your reaction when you saw that happen? Like you thought, hang on, I thought he was behind me. Oh, he's past me. You know, like, literally one of the places you wouldn't expect it, going through into Reed, Stillman, and McPhillippi at the top of the mountain.
yeah, I mean, I think my first thought, like when he was still there in that part of the track, it's like I want to live. I do want to live and continue to see the end of this race, and it kind of takes that part of the track. There's just not space for 2 cars, so I think at a certain point you just have to be like, all right, we're gonna live to see another lap and then see where we can go from there. But I think it also started like a couple corners before where he stuck his nose in a place that I wasn't really expecting, and then kind of messed up the exit, and it all kind of he forced my hand. In which it was super fun racing with Tigish this race. Kind of great performance from him overall today.
I think also the fact that we got to a couple of laps to go, and you guys were side by side coming out of Forest Elbow, going down into the chase, and you picked that outside line, which then perfectly set you up for the move to get the job done. It's always good. It's always satisfying when you know that you got the run on the guy in front of you, and you got that slipstream, you've got that toe, and you made it work to eventually see you take second place in this Crown Jewel Champions Pick final round of the season. I bet that was so gratifying when you just thought, yes, finally, the deadlock is broken.
Yeah, I mean, the BMW is like wicked fast in the straights here, so I would find I'd gain in the corners, lose in the straights, but like unfortunately Tigish just like a little bit of a mix up there in Forest Elbow, which allowed me to get just like right up on him and was able to put the nose in, and I really want to go back and make sure I left enough space because obviously that's you want to leave the racing room, but yeah, it was, I mean, a last lap, almost last corner pass, like you kind of can't ask for too much more. So
Brilliant. Well, Simply Steve, thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us in the Bathurst Bratwurst Party post-race show. Congratulations on finishing runner-up tonight, and look forward to seeing you racing again sometime soon.
thank you, and just as always, shout out to my teammate and my girlfriend.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Simply Steve. We'll see you next time. Well done tonight.
Thank you.
Right, okay. I think we're going to wrap it up with our final interview. We're going to speak to our third driver that finished running at the podium. It's Tigish joining us. Tigish, good evening. How are you doing, buddy? It was a tough race out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, very tough. Around some tough competition up there at the front too.
But I have to say, you did move of the night. You certainly did move of the night tonight, getting through on Simply Steve just after the cutting, which we just spoken to Simply Steve, and he said you normally can't put two cars there, but you made it work, and you were sniffing around by his rear diffuser all the way through the cutting, and then as soon as you got through at Quarry, it was like, whoa, we didn't see that one coming. That was a great move.
Yeah, props to Steve for keeping it clean there too. I knew he wasn't gonna let me through anywhere else, and I saw a little bit of opening and knew I had to take it.
I mean,
Definitely experimental.
Yeah, that's the thing. Thinking a little bit outside the box is probably the way that I'd put it. But it was a close race between you, Simply Steve, and Sean at times during the race. I mean, because Sean was right behind the pair of you when that move took place, heading into Reed Park, Sullivan, and then into McPhillamy. Either one of you three could have won it tonight, couldn't you?
Yeah, no, it was that was a nice close battle up there at the front. It was a lot of fun to see.
Yeah. I mean, Bathurst is one that really tests everybody. We did see that both you and Simply Steve were glancing the walls from time to time. I mean, a lot of people out there thinking, oh yeah, well, sim racing is just a game. You guys are sparring. You're being mentally and physically taxed. How are you feeling after what has been not just a 90-minute race? You've had a 20-minute qualifying session. You've had all the practice. You've had all the build up and getting laps around here at the circuit at Mount Panorama. How are you feeling at this moment, despite the fact of only having finished third and still being within an opportunity of taking the win tonight?
Hands are a little sore and definitely ready for bed now. That was a lot of mental stress, having Steve sniffing on me for the last 20 minutes or so, however long it was. He managed to get me to touch the Falcon barrier there at the last lap.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, Tigish, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Shout out to the admins for putting on an awesome season this season. A lot of fun, learned a lot. Can't wait for the next season.
Brilliant. Well, Tigish, we'll let you get some welcome hydration down your neck and get yourself some rest, and congratulations on rounding out the podium tonight here at Mount Panorama.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Really good to hear from our top three there, Chris. It has been a fantastic way to cap off a J2S season here at Mount Panorama for this GT3 Sprint Championship. It was really, I mean, from the minute we went green, it was difficult to call who was really going to be standing on that top step. Of course, Sean Dickinson with the fastest lap of the race and the win takes home 55 points, and with it captures the series crown. But you can't say that things aren't going to be easy for the next time that the Parabolic Companies J2S GT3 Sprint Championship bursts back into life. I think he's going to have a few more people to worry about next season, because I'm sure that everyone will bring their A game.
No, just a fantastic season here with J2ICS. I really thank these guys for letting us be a part of it, letting me be a part of it. It's been a lot of fun, but you're right. I think, Sean Dickinson has been dominant in a lot of these races. But as we've gone out through the season, it just as a driver, you want to challenge yourself, and you always want to race against the fastest guys out there, and that's what these guys have been doing. They've been racing against Sean Dickinson, who's been the fastest guy here at JTI all season long, but they have stepped up their game throughout this season. I think, and it just makes racing with somebody that's that consistent, that quick, just makes you a better driver as well. And we're seeing this, and I think you're 100% right. When we get into next season, it could be a different story. We're going to see I think we're going to see even more competition next year. We're really looking forward, hoping we're a part of it again. But once again, just thank JTICS guys for letting us be here. It has just been a fun season to be a part of.
Well, before we sign off tonight here on the JP Broadcasting Network, don't forget, if you've been watching along, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can also follow the JP Broadcasting Network on the respective social media channels. Coming up on our broadcast schedule, I'm going to get my words out right at the moment. Radical Race Series heads to Legacy Silverstone later on this evening, UK time. Then we'll have the League Zero Super Formula Round 2 at Indianapolis, along with the NARS Virtual Modern Sports Car Championship, which will be running at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course for an hour and a half at around about 2:30 UK time tomorrow morning. Then we got Virtual Racing TCR at Brands, the Virtual World Sports Car Championship 2025, 90 minutes of Fuji, JRC and the Novice Racer League go to Mount Panorama. OGRL Coffee Cup will be at Mount Panorama. IGP Fun will head to Mexico. And then Sim Racing for Simpletons would head to Indianapolis on Monday morning. You've been in the company of myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Chris Murphy. We've been your commentary team all the way through this live broadcast for the J2ICS Bathurst Bratwurst party. And a big thank you to everyone that has jumped on board with us tonight. And as always, race hard, race fair. And if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye for now.